Shout out Sniper T on the beat.
Tamara to the break of dawn is on the rise, with life on the forefront of the mind. So line for line, you can ride this brain train and you can change your station without even touching the dial. So relax, stay a little bit, but listen for a while. And whether you're bumping this in the whip or in a business fit, it's a meeting you won't want to miss. A meeting for a meal to feed the soul with words for the mind. So sit back, enjoy the ride. Time to take off, it's time to fly. Cause Tamara till the break of dawn is on the rise.
Hey, y'all. So, oh my gosh, sorry. My child is texting me. What a great way for me to start the show is whatever. So, guys, it's me, Tamara. Welcome back to the show. I am slightly distracted. I'm sorry. I went to pick my phone up to put it on silent because that's what you do when you're a professional such as myself and you
Thank
don't
you for
want,
reminding me.
you know what I'm saying, interruptions. However, my child texted me, so I'm back, guys. Welcome back to the show. Thank you so much for all the people that, especially those of you that watch you and listen, or even those of you that don't, that simply just listen because you listen to my show. You're that faithful, because I've done that with Thanks for Coming, a RuPaul drag show podcast. I think is what it's called.
Is it the drag race?
There you go.
Yeah.
So that show, but the show, the podcast is Thanks for Coming, and then it has the rest of the RuPaul stuff. Anyways, I listen to that podcast faithfully. I literally have never watched the show, like ever. So I know there are people that do that don't watch you. You totally should though, because you is that show. You know what I'm saying? But appreciate y'all. And of course, all my regular supporters, new listeners, just everybody. Thank you so much. New episodes drop every Thursday. So I know we've been doing these bonus episodes on Monday. We have 2 more episodes after this. This is insane. I know. I'm sad the season is coming to an end because, dude, there's so much happening.
On the plus side, had we not decided to do this, we would have binged it. Yeah, and it would have been over for us so long ago.
You're right. And that is what, yeah, so of course, guys, Khris is here. Oh, hey hold on.
Well, you gotta, oh, yes, the class.
Yes, thank you, guys. I appreciate y'all making my guests feel welcome and whatnot. So, yes, of course, Khris is here. We have 2 more. It's so funny how I act like I didn't just push the button for that whenever I do that. Like,
and said, hold on. And you said,
right. Like there's really a studio audience, but it's okay because it makes me feel like the universe, the angels, they are clapping for us. You feel me? Yes. So, yes, you season 3. Before we get into that, though, I want to talk about something else real quick. So, goodness, I'm gonna try not to cry. Because it's sad. It's very sad. But so there's someone named Dean, right? And let me talk about Dean, because Dean is a really good friend of Khris's. So that's like how I met Khris. He's a friend, solid. I swear I feel like watched every podcast happy hour, commented,
at least popped in.
Yeah. So he's a friend of Podcast Happy Hour. He's also a friend of this show. So like, he supported us all as a group, individually, in our own podcast, because we're all solo podcasters. But Dean
has about, I think, 3 episodes on Shenanigans with Friends.
Okay.
I think whenever I could get like, when I'm like in a point where I feel like I can talk about this more, I'm definitely gonna like post the episodes. But like, yeah. Okay, I'm sorry, I'll let you finish.
No. I mean, you're good. So, but way before all of that, how I actually met Dean was Khris, and I've talked about this on the show if you just listen in general. Khris used to host movie nights via Netflix and chill on the internet type thing. And then we would have a Zoom after party. That's basically
to like
what
decompress and like talk about it.
Yeah.
It actually started when we were watching Unsolved Mysteries, remember?
Yeah, that's true.
And then after like we kind of like waned off of that, like it like slowly transformed into like movie nights.
So that's actually how I met Dean. So like when I say a friend of the show and all that, this is not just Twitter, although I love the people that I've, interacted with on Twitter, but I've had like real, not face to face because we're in different states, but like Zoom face to face. We've talked about a lot of different things. But sadly, on Thanksgiving, he passed away. And what's so unfortunate about it is, besides him just being super dope, like so supportive, I told you all that, but just like great heart, great energy, just a good person overall. And you could just tell just by interacting with him, because you can tell when people are fake, you know what I mean? Plus, Khris doesn't generally be close to fake people from what I can tell.
It's really hard for me
too. Anyways, but so he passed away Thanksgiving. He had just graduated college
with his master's.
Yeah.
With his master's,
So really, really sad because we don't really know what happened.
It's weird. Like I told you guys, it's weird. Like because like we really did have a really strong connection, and Tamara told you guys about the podcasting stuff, but the company that he worked for up until his passing was the company that I worked for almost 10 years. I was there when he came in. I was a floor lead. I helped train him.
Oh wow, I didn't know all that.
We went through, and then like because it's customer service, but it was like a high end retailer. And so at around this time of the year, we had opportunities to leave our roles and do other things, and we did that together. Also, I don't know, a few of you might know my friend Colin. He's been on the show or two as well. But all three of us kind of did that. We kind of hopped to these different departments together. Like, so I spent the majority of my time at that job around him, and when I tell you he's never had like a bad interaction with anybody, like people could like be coming up to us because we did like help desk or like in like attendance kind of stuff like that. So we were visible. And so people would come up and, want to yell at us about their paychecks, and we don't have anything to do with that, stuff like that. And so people would come with like crazy shit, like every day, like at least one person, right? And Dean never had a bad interaction with anybody. Like somebody could be coming with the worst energy, and like somehow he had a fucking way of neutralizing that. And like, he was just such a good person. I don't know. I don't know, but it's sad. So I'm sorry.
Yeah. I didn't realize you guys. Yeah.
Right, and I don't think that y'all would have known that. You know what I'm saying? But like, so that support that he gave me, like that shit is so real. He was one of the first people to buy stuff from KOD bartending. It's just like anybody that was ever around him that had any inkling of like wanting to do something better with themselves, like he 100% supported that in any way, shape, or form that he could. Like whether it was retweeting or buying something or like mentioning it on his Facebook. Like he did that all the time, like with my show. Like he's just such a genuine person, and I really, really sad that he's not with us anymore. But I don't want to like dwell on this too much because like we'll have this time off podcast happy hour too. Yeah. But guys, like I said, he just fucking graduated with his master's in like criminology. Like it's fucking crazy. But obviously no one expected him to pass.
Right.
And so his family is looking for help. I think Tamara's gonna post the GoFundMe in her show notes. If you guys could just donate anything, like $1, $5, just anything at all, just to help his family get through this really tough time, I would really greatly appreciate it. And then, like, I'll just share something with y'all. Just, I don't know if it's, like, to help incentivize you guys, but, like, his family, like, Thanksgiving's, like, such a, like, not such a great day anymore for them. His mother, Dean's mother, died, like, 6 or 7 years ago on Thanksgiving, the same day that he died. And, like, that shit is just so, it's just, like, it's really hurting them. Like, and so, if, I know you guys don't know him, but if you guys could, like, find it in your heart, or even just share it. Just share it. Just pass it on to other people who might be in a position to help. Please. He was a really, really good kid. Like, I'm saying kid because he was 35, but like he was like, it's because like he was like my little brother. Like we were the fucking same age, but like just the circumstances of us like getting our relationship forming. Like I just felt like he just felt like my little brother, and I'm really, really sad that I won't have like, because we also live in the same city, so like we like really like see like we had access to each other, and I can't wait to on Friday on podcast happy hour to share like one of my most recent favorite memories. I'm not gonna say that's my favorite, but my most recent favorite memory of Dean, and he was just a really good kid. And I'm gonna miss him so much, and like it would mean everything to me if like you guys could help them. I think if they posted the GoFundMe yesterday. The last time I checked, they were about over a third of the way. So, like, they're only looking for $3,000. They're just trying to bury him with his mother. And anything that you guys could do, I would really appreciate it. So that's it. And I'm gonna like turn my camera off so I get this ugly cry face off. But
and I'll wrap this up. Yeah. So as Khris said, the GoFundMe information is in the episode notes. Now, if you know me, especially if you know me as just me, and you're listening just because you're trying to support my podcast, like my friends, my family, that type thing, you know that I don't post anything just to post it. So if I vouch for anything, and I'll just say this to all y'all, you probably could tell my character by the stuff that I post. If you follow me on social media or listening to my show or whatever, if you've interacted with me, I don't just vouch for any and everything. And because I personally really am not in a position to give just because of where I'm at financially, that is why I'm using my platform and people that I know to try to share this, encourage you. As she said, whatever little bit you can give will help. You know what I mean? I did not realize Dean was 35 because he seemed so much younger.
So much younger. Like I don't know what it is. Like I don't know if it was just his personality, but like you automatically just feel like older than him. Like you know what I'm saying? Like you have to like I don't know. Like
and not in a childish way.
Exactly. I was just gonna say that. Not in a childish way.
And all that.
He used to stay telling me how I was wrong about fucking like fucking like law shit. And I'd be like, oh well, they gotta know. Like
so, but it's just something about him that just had this youthfulness to him. And even he was super encouraging. Even like when I would cry on Twitter about my gray hairs that I found, you know what I'm saying?
Oh, he was like super grayed out. Like
like just encouraging and like she said, the stuff that I'm doing, like business wise, like content creator wise, he would listen to the show, he would retweet it if nothing else, he would interact with, and like I know him more so from that standpoint, but still, it just like I have no shade to anyone, but I have friends and family on Facebook that see my content all the time and literally do nothing with it. You know what I mean? So like anybody who even just retweets just means a lot to me because it's like getting that out to potentially someone else. And like I said, I've interacted with him aside from that. And man, I used to always tell him I was gonna block him on Twitter
because he would be up like and he would just be like sending like the craziest videos.
Yes, but it's like I so miss that now. Yeah. You know what I mean? And I keep going to his Twitter and his IG to try to like. But yeah, so if you guys could give, or if you could even just share it. You'll see the picture of him and all that in the GoFundMe. So even if you could just do that, I know it's the holidays.
His little cousin is running it. Like her name's Diamond. I talk to her on Facebook now. This is kind of like brought me a new friend. But I just, I definitely asked her about this before I told the girls or I let anybody else know. I did want to make sure that it was okay because, like, I know that if there are other donations, they're kind of just going to be coming from random people to them. You know what I mean? But yeah, so they're okay with it. Like I said, they're only looking for 3,000. I think they were at like 1,400. Like by like the last time I looked. So
last time I looked, it was like 1,200. So even that's awesome. Yeah. So yeah, guys. I definitely wanted to take some time to do that. If you also listen to my solo episode, I'm going to be talking about that on Thursday as well, just because not everybody listens to these Youuuu episodes. And again, I have this platform, so when I can use it to help other people in specific ways, I really try to do that. Y'all should have saw that when my friend's husband, who actually miraculously is still alive fighting cancer because the doctor gave him whatever, but I've used it to try to help them as well in the past. So it's like, when I do this, it's because I trust whoever, whatever. I'm not going to vouch for just anybody. Khris is the same. So I know if she brought it to us, it's legit. So you can trust that if you have the means and you can donate, it's going to go towards the right thing. I know it being a good person doesn't matter, but Dean really was a very solid person. And I do not say that about everybody just to say it. Like, I really, yeah. So I'm going to stop talking about this because I don't want to cry, anymore about this. But right now on camera is more so what I'm saying. So, we're going to talk about Youuuu. Season 3, episode 8, which is called what, Khris? I don't even look.
Swing and a miss.
What a title. I only looked that 1 week because I had to, because it was Kayliana and I didn't expect her to. Other than that, I never even look at the title. So, like, when I say, what is it, Khris, y'all? I really
She really don't know.
I don't, because I just, yeah. Man, y'all. Whew, this episode, I know there's going to be another season.
Yeah.
So thank God, because
they had a lot of things to like hurry up and fix. And
there's no way that all of this is going to be just fixed by the end of, like, Youuuu is different now. Youuuu used to be, I feel like in one season, they could have ended there and it would be okay, because it was Joe trying to find love. Well, not love, like LOV.
Right.
Yeah, like the idea of love.
The intangible.
There you go. But then once he found the tangible love while pursuing whatever, once he found his current wife and baby mama, you know what I'm saying?
Not baby mama.
Well, I mean,
that's what she's trying to. That's what he's trying to get her to be anyway.
Yeah, right. So once he found her, and then now they're married and have this kid and all this stuff, it's just, the season is different. So it's been interesting because it's not the Youuuu that we're used to, but then again, it kind of is, and like they made sure to stick to his inner dialogue with himself and all that good stuff. But it's like, there's no way that I feel like they could tie up everything, that they keep introducing new things by the end of the season. So I had already seen on Netflix that they do have another season coming, which is exciting because I really do enjoy the show. But when I tell you, this episode was insane and there was so much happening. Like, I was texting Khris at like 2:00 in the morning, my time.
Right.
Because and we usually don't talk about it
before
ahead of time because we try to keep that on here, but I couldn't help it because, like, bruh. So let's go ahead and get into it.
Okay. So Joe, when we come in, Joe is reading up on polyamory. Like a good student.
Right.
Reading up on threesomes before you have them.
You gotta study, make sure you do it right.
Yeah, you gotta be well educated. And so this is where we find out his new plan is like, okay, let's just go with whatever crazy shit Love is trying to do and let's implode this shit. Because I don't want to be here. I want to be with Marianne, with our mixed family.
Right. Brady bunching it up.
Right. And that's that on that. So he's like, fuck it. I'm about to just deep dive in this. Like, let's get it. Like, I'm going to get her to leave. There was some dialogue, and I just kind of wrote questions. I wrote questions and statements in my notes this time.
I did too. That's interesting.
So, somehow they get into the conversation about Love and James. And the conversation feels as if, and this is what I wrote, did Love kill James because he didn't want to have kids?
I thought it was just in general interesting that Dottie brought that up in the first place because we haven't heard about James since we barely heard about him.
I barely remember who that nigga was.
So that was Love's former husband. We can't say ex because he died.
They didn't get divorced.
Yeah, he died of cancer is what we thought.
Cancer is what we thought. But love now, is what probably happened.
Yeah, because Dottie doesn't know how much Love has killed at this point, and who knows who else Love has killed that we don't know about. Exactly. We only know about what she's either told Joe or shown Joe. Mm-hmm. But I could see that being a reason why Love killed him, because I don't think it would be simply because he wanted a divorce. I don't know. I can't see that being the case.
It was the way she told the story. Mm-hmm. And it made me feel because she said he changed his mind about wanting to have kids and then he got sick. Did he get sick? Or were you slowly poisoning him or whatever the fuck you were doing or however you killed him?
Yeah.
But then that made me pose another question. Now that Joe has given her a kid, will she just let him leave? Or is he gonna end up, would he end up dead according to how Love's shit works?
I would say, if anything, I don't think she would kill Joe. I think she would kill whatever tried to take. Yeah, just like she killed Natalie. I think if anything is a threat to her that will ruin her family, because you remember she told her mom, I'm gonna do whatever it is to protect my family. Or something like that. And that's why she shipped her mom off. You got me, which that was very, very dumb, irresponsible, selfish.
It literally didn't make
all
no
that
sense.
She did was stupid, but including calling it Gordata instead of Gordita. I feel like out of all the
Did you get my Gordatas?
Bruh, what? Spent $300 on a lighter.
And the fucking closed caption was Gordata.
So I feel like that would be more so the case, that Joe would almost be ooh, so you know how Joe puts people in physical cages? I feel like being with Love would
put
him
mental.
In mental cage.
Because he can't ever leave, and he can't ever even dream about wanting somebody else, because then she gonna figure out who it is and kill them, so he can't dream about them no more.
Man, that part. So yeah, he also, as part of trying to get her to go along with polyamory, is it's interesting because he's doing it in a way where he's trying to make it seem he's trying not to appear too eager,
right?
Because he's trying to make Love think it's her idea.
It's her idea,
and she's convinced him to.
Exactly.
But really, it was her idea, and he's like, "Oh my gosh, this is a gift." Yeah, and it's just crazy that he's yeah.
Okay, so how funny is it that ever since we didn't know that Dante was blind, They showed his cane so much in this episode. Did you notice
I
that?
just like,
and we didn't see it so much before this.
Dante being blind is just so
Does it bother you?
It doesn't bother. No, it doesn't. Not like that. But it's such a huge part of who. Like, he doesn't even have a big part other than being the dude that works in the library, and they do close-ups, and they've had so many conversations.
Yes.
And so it bothers me that is such a huge thing that I missed.
That's what I'm saying. Does it bother you? Like the fact that episode 7, we didn't even really acknowledge that this nigga couldn't see.
We didn't know. So y'all, it's not like we just didn't acknowledge it. We literally did not.
I literally had no context clues because he would just be standing in front of you and just talking, and we didn't see like a cane at first, and then all of a sudden, like episode 8, I see that cane like 3 times. Like the most I've ever seen that damn cane. Like I even wrote, I was like, they keep showing his cane now.
It's like they heard us, and they're like, okay, let me show these niggas he's really for real blind.
Unless that's just our brain.
It wasn't a costume.
Unless that's just our brain being like, now that we're aware, we're being hyper aware. I don't know. I can't tell.
It could be because they say, like, if you're thinking about, like, I noticed when I got my current car, I didn't see as many of my car until I got it.
Until you got it, and then everybody has your car.
So, I mean, but at the same time, it's not like we would have noticed that if they really highlighted it before. Like,
you're right.
I don't know. But yeah, Dante is, and you know what's crazy is I never really, because when Joe was talking to him and he was asking him about, basically as part of Joe's research, if they had ever been, if they had always been faithful in their marriage or whatever. I never really knew he was gay either until I never really thought about it.
I'm getting the vibes that like they didn't realize how that another season was going to come and they possibly might need Dante again. Like, and so they're trying to like character develop him late in the fucking episode.
Girl, because like
I learned so much about this nigga
in these last 2 episodes, and he's always been there. That's the thing. Like, it's not like he hasn't.
I gotta cover for Dante. I gotta do this for Dante.
Yeah. So like, he's apparently married, has a husband. They have kids, I guess.
It sounds like they were trying very hard for a lot of years to adopt, and they finally were able to.
Yeah, so there's like he has this whole life, and
the whole ass backstory, and we're just now hearing about.
Yeah, and he's like coaching Marianne,
like to help her with her
through this before. Like he's the expert.
Like we're learning so much about Dante.
Yeah, it's crazy.
So in the library today, guys, Joe or Marianne gets a phone call from somebody about her illustrations. And Joe submitted them, being Joe, always trying to go above and beyond and helping you. And Marianne was kind of mad at first, but like literally like, bitch, he put you on, and you have to like. So yeah. So and I know the reason why that she was like feeling like that was because she felt like there was like boundaries being crossed, but like.
And it's like they're really trying hard to hide their feelings for. So like I won't even say it's like this. It's Marianne is really trying to respect the fact that he's married, like. But also, I think it's more so because I don't even think it's
for her kid.
Yeah, I was gonna say I don't even think that she's trying to respect the fact that he's married. She doesn't want her ex to find out because he will use that against her, and she's trying to get some sort of custody of her daughter. And so it's just interesting because if anybody, like, they be in the book aisles as if that's a private space, like there isn't thousands or maybe
I cannot that you said that because that is absolutely positively true.
They be hundreds of people all just anywhere in the library, and they act like just because you're like the books are this invisible, this force.
The
just
books,
like
the
Joe
books
be
are
thinking, like he be thinking his hat is like a cloak of invisibility. That's what they act like these book aisles are. Like, one, there aren't open spaces at the end of each aisle. Two, like you can't look over the books because that's the way they have it set up. There's not like a wall in between each side of the books, and they just go in there like, okay, now we're alone. No, you're not. Everyone can.
They got their library
you.
quiet voices on.
Gosh, they kill me.
That's probably the only flaw about this show is like Joe's invisibility cloak and the fact that they be just talking about everybody's business in the library, like
hugging, almost kissing, and
yeah,
all this stuff,
like hella
other people are
embracing.
there.
That was an embrace. That was not a hug. Like,
You're right. That really was, and it's like that is not proper conduct for a. He's not technically an employee, but like an employee and employer.
You love reminding Joe of this
because he's not like, but he is the most faithful volunteer ever, and I have worked in many a nonprofit or social work setting or volunteered at church, and they would love someone with Joe's dedication because not only does he show up every day faithfully, he will stay late. Ain't no overtime because there's no pay. So like, you know, and either way, that's not even proper conduct for the volunteer coordinator and the volunteer. And the way she hugged him is like she was hugging her man.
Yeah, because she
was. Right.
So, like I said, Joe's helping Marianne, and she try to act like she don't care, but she really loves that shit.
Because she has no one else.
So he's like, boom, she's embraced me. She's okay about the illustration. Let me go home and poke this fucking threesome bear again, or this foursome bear.
Girl.
So he goes home, and they're in bed. And so he goes, his inner dialogue is basically like, all right, I'm gonna act like I don't want to fuck this bitch, basically. Right? Yep. And so he's like hella just trying to like not just be into like her kissing on him and rubbing on him. And then she go, she know how she that look that Tamara don't like. So she acts that like
I can't. She irritates
so she starts to love pout. And she's like, we're just so boring. And then that's when he's like, oh, but we don't have to be. What about that shit you was talking about with your friends? And then basically kind of reignites that. And she's like, okay, you're right. Like, let's do it, right?
Mm-hmm.
So then I'm assuming she calls Sherry and Carey. Because the next scene, they're in the bakery with a non-disclosure about this thick.
Let's talk about how professionally,
Listen, they brought 2 pens, one for Joe and one for Love.
The organization and the professionalism that they put into this sex party.
It's like Tamara wrote the fucking paperwork for them.
Who did they hire to write standard operating procedure documents for sex parties? Like, girl, I was very impressed with that, with the interview. Okay, are you comfortable with this? Are you comfortable with that? Like, they are professionals at this.
They does this.
Which, like, for real, you know what I'm saying? And
it was impressive, I'm not gonna lie.
It was. Yeah.
Yeah.
It was also, though, y'all know I can't stand Sherry, and I really still can't. And well, yeah, she irritates my soul.
I don't mean to jump ahead or like interrupt you.
Go ahead.
But the noises that she was making.
Now you know I already can't stand her, right? Here's a fun fact about me too that's kind of related to this, but not.
Okay.
So when I'm watching any TV show, I know this has happened with Power, like every Power series, because I watch them all.
Mm-hmm.
And this show, like when the anxiety that I get sometimes watching TV was so intensified this episode. So like when that happens, I will pause the episode because I'll have this conversation with myself. Thank God I'm always alone, because if anybody was around, because I'll be like, okay. Like that was literally me like trying to accept what I knew was going to happen in this episode. Because even the fact that Joe actually agreed to this, knowing he cannot stand Sherry, he likes Carey, but he's not gay or bisexual.
Right.
So the lengths that he was willing to go to
for love for Marianne.
Yes. And that's one of the things that Dante, I feel like, put him onto, because Dante is such this prevalent character now that's like dropping gems, even like
major keys.
So when he talked to Dante and he asked Dante, have you guys always had like a faithful marriage or whatever? And he was like, kind of, and talked about where they did a threesome once. And he was like, well, how did he convince you to do it? And he's like, he didn't have to, because I love him, and if that's what would make him happy, I was willing to do it. And Joe needed that, but my goodness, the lengths that he was willing to go to for love, but really for Marianne, because he's really doing all this to try to get rid of love, like, was insane. And part of that is considering, because he can't stand Sherry. He never has liked her. He compared her to Peach.
Who can like her?
Yeah,
she's very much Peach vibes.
And I couldn't stand Peach either, which was unfortunate, because I really liked her in Pretty Little Liars. Like, she was one of my favorite characters. And then you come up in You, and you're yeah.
So the Q&A goes bad, guys, because there's a point where they ask, Sherry and Carey asks, Sherry and Carey? Yeah, Sherry and Carey.
Yep.
I don't know why I want his name to be something else. Like,
because that's a stupid couple name combination. Like, that's why.
So Sherry and Carey asked, when like Sam said, like, what are you comfortable with? And then the question came if Joe was comfortable with Sherry.
If Love was comfortable with Joe sleeping with Sherry.
And then Love said yeah, Joe said no. These niggas very professionally get the fuck up and say, you guys are not on the same page. This is not, we've seen this before. We're not trying to be the demise of your marriage. Call us when you're on the same page.
But let's talk about why Joe said no. Joe didn't say no because it's not even about attraction. It's not about any of that. Love kills people. like Love has killed multiple people, including Natalie. Joe is not trying to get Sherry killed, is why he said no, because he wants Love to have what he feels like she wants or needs or whatever, but he doesn't want to get anyone killed in the process.
Right.
So that's why he said no. Of course, he can't say that to them.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. So, then we're back with the all powerful and wise Dante, where he is prepping Marianne for court. This is where we find out a lot about his backstory, that he is gay and that they have children, and that it was a struggle to try to, make that happen, because I'm sure that because they were gay, like, that's like people anyway. So I'm sure that was why they had such a struggle to get to adopt the children. But he was just explaining that although, our situations are different, they're kind of the same, what I'm saying? Like, we're kind of both up against some crazy odds, and we have to, like, basically we got to keep that shit tight. Like, ain't no ain't no buts, ain't no, like, you have to go in there, you have to, like, kill these questions. And he was pretty hard on her, but that was his reasoning. Like, he's like, look, like, I've been through the trenches, like, it took us. He said it took us like 3 or 4 years to get like this kid. Like,
as a good leader should, because Dante is a whole leader in this.
He is a whole leader.
But
let me explain to you. Let me explain to you how I would have no kids if it took me 3 years to get them.
Girl,
that's fine. I don't want to know more.
Nah, for real. It's crazy because on a different note, I mean, it was so easy for me to have all 3 of my kids. I really wasn't trying to necessarily have kids. It just,
Me neither.
you know what I mean? It just happened. And I've been seeing a lot lately, and I've even known people that either they they still don't have kids, or have never been able to, or maybe they do have them, but it took like forever. And the doctor said this and that. And you just never really think about how like fortunate it is for
to
whoever
just be able to get pregnant.
Yeah, because man, I never think about that, especially because I have my kids so young, you know what I mean? And so, but if I was adopting and it was that hard, I'm
so sorry, kids.
I don't know.
But I'm probably going to buy something in that 3 years that's going to totally offset me ever really like needing.
Yeah, it's
can I donate something to somebody? Like, can I can I help like fund wherever, you know what I'm saying? Like I'm probably gonna change my mind. That's all I'm saying. Like,
yeah, it's a lot.
Yeah. Okay. So all right. This is probably one of the most interesting scenes. I feel like I'm rushing through this, but I'm so sorry, but I gotta like watch the time.
Yeah, no, you're good.
Okay, so we're in the backyard. Love got her little sexy outfit. Can I just say I like that shirt? I
was here for it.
I feel like I kind of like the ensemble. I might have probably done something different with the bottom for me personally.
Yeah,
but I really liked her. I really like that outfit. So she's in the backyard. She's texting Joe. Stop staring at me.
Right. Sounding all like, what is happening?
Yeah. And so now, because he wasn't staring at her, he goes staring at her.
Because he's like, oh, because he's a good student.
Right.
And he's like...
He learned that, yeah.
Yeah, he's like, I need to, do what I got to do.
Right, exactly. So now he's looking, and Love is pulling up her skirt, showing her thigh, and like hella accentuated her collarbone and shit, like all of that shit. And then what happens? A fucking Nerf ball comes across the fence because Theo
accidentally, quote unquote.
He tried to throw that into her vagina, like
right. Talking about bullseye. Here I come. I'm gonna follow the ball.
Right.
I just gotta retrieve the ball.
I just gotta get the ball. Yeah. So he comes over because obviously it's crazy I'm saying obviously because she got a whole ass husband, but obviously Theo thinks that she's doing that for him because that's how she be acting.
In the backyard, like why would you be in the backyard instead of in your house if it's not for me? Is basically what Theo is saying.
Exactly.
The boldness of this man, though, to say, I saw Joe's car in the driveway and still proceed to flirt, to do all these things out loud where you don't know if this man can hear you. And then you see that he's watching you.
Like this on the glass window.
Yeah.
So here's the thing. Theo might not die. Only because Joe don't give a fuck. Now, if Joe cared, if Joe didn't have Marianne in his fucking brain all the time and like cared even a little bit,
he would have been dead.
He would have hella killed him after this fucking interaction.
Yeah, because he knows, and he said it last episode that Love is into him more than she lets on. Like it's not just her.
And that's because, but he's only saying that because he don't know they fucks, like.
But he would if he didn't have Marianne distracting him.
Oh, he definitely would have known.
He would have been found out because that's how he found out that she was his Uber driver before. You know what I mean? So like.
Very true. Yeah. So Theo is over there flirting and shit. And she's like, "Oh, my husband's there, so we better behave." Like, but then she called this nigga back. Like, okay, it was just like for Joe to be watching, it was just all very like optically very weird. Like, and whatever, like, and I know that she was asking about like what his father was up to or whatever. But like, why did you let him walk away? Like,
right.
It just made it look weird, like visually.
It did, especially if you're trying to pretend like you're solely doing this because you're trying to get information.
Exactly. So obviously, I was talking about something else, and then you fucking forgot and was like, "Oh shit, what happened with your dad?"
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, so Theo still don't know nothing, and then what just happens? Then Love gives that love pout, and he's like, "But." I'm still looking into it, so don't trip. Like, he never really still be looking into it. He really be giving up, and then she look at him like that, and he'd be like, "All right, I'm gonna keep trying."
Yeah, because he doesn't even understand why it's so important because he doesn't know who Love is. So he's like, "Why are you tripping? If you haven't done anything, my dad's not gonna really be worried about it."
Right.
And she's like, "Oh no."
And he's like, I'll go find something, babe.
Yeah,
like,
because
or whatever.
I need it because of the divorce, which still doesn't make sense anyway.
It doesn't. Like, it wasn't such a divorce.
We got to remember that we're 35 and 41, so we are looking at this as full-grown adults, and he's only 19 and infatuated with Love. So clearly, much of what, clearly it all makes sense for him to be like, okay, but don't trip, I got you. You know what I mean? So
right. So, what's Theo's dad name again?
Matthew.
Matt is losing his shit.
We got to talk about this one. Like,
when Theo's outside.
Theo, his plan to figure. I didn't know what he was doing. At first, I thought, did he somehow turn the lights off at Love's house? Because it just
the way that how far it was.
Yeah, it didn't seem like that was his backyard. But he came up with this plan of, I'm gonna cut the power, cut the Wi-Fi, try to get my dad in conversation, say I'm hungry but I can't go, so he could go get me some food,
some tacos and shit.
Yeah, and then I'm gonna go spy and figure out. Right. The interesting thing is that why didn't Matthew go get food? Like, did he suspect it, or because I didn't understand why he really
why there was no tacos?
Like, yeah, like why did you just come back? Like, you knew he was trying to be nosy, or I don't know.
I don't know either. But at this point, Matthew's mad suspicious of everything.
True.
So like that's probably why, because he's been up in his room looking at cameras all fucking.
Clearly, he's been looking at and seeing a lot more than
we thought.
Yeah, because he doesn't say. He just literally stays in there. So Theo finds his villain lair, because that's basically he has all makings of a villain origin story of his dead wife and not believing that what the police found out,
right?
And he sees all the cameras and he's like, dude, this is hella illegal. You're gonna go to jail.
Right. So the video that he found that his dad was watching was a video of Love and Joe, and Joe like kind of hemmed her up, it looked like.
It's probably when they got into it at the beginning of when he was mad about Theo. Like, that's kind of the only one of the few times that he reacted that way.
Right, that's what I thought. But so then Theo says something to his dad. He says like, well, she's not a murderer. And he was like, I don't have the proof yet. Like, so I'm like, what else did you find? Because that wasn't enough, like, to you know what I'm saying?
But he probably saw Natalie go in and never come out. Because we know he's been watching her, because he typed in her name only at the beginning or the end of like the last episode, somewhere around that. We see him watching her and Joe coming out of the store. We know he saw something else, but they don't show us what he saw related to the store. And we know that in broad daylight, folks go in and don't come out of the store. You know what I mean? Like, yeah, so.
Okay. So, yeah.
But he also seems to know something about what Theo and Love be doing.
Yes, he definitely put them on blast and was like, what the fuck do you think you're doing, bro?
She's married with a crazy husband.
Right, because from the videos, right. Like,
and she is married with a crazy husband, though. Like,
but
he's
she crazy
not
too.
wrong.
Like,
Yeah, that's
no,
the only.
he's pretty
Yeah.
spot on. You're right.
Yeah, yeah.
So yeah, so of course Theo gets upset about that because he loves her. You want to get into Sherry and Carey and their 2 suitcases?
Before we get into that, we have to get into this argument that Theo and Matthew had, where, because that's kind of how that ended, where Theo is, and I don't blame Matthew, honestly, because when someone is grieving, the last thing you want to do is try to, one, tell them how to grieve, but also say something like, she's dead, get over it, in the aggressive manner that Theo did, and say, none of this is going to bring her back.
Yeah.
So Matthew's response to that was, get your shit and get out and go back to your mom's house. And I was kind of like, dang, that's crazy, because
true.
we know that Theo does not have a good relationship with
his
mom at all, because this isn't even his real dad.
Right.
So that's the crazy thing. This is the only parent he identifies with who's not even his biological father, and you just lost your stepmom.
Right.
And now your dad has put you out. And my question here is, do you think he'll come back? Because, like,
you can't stay away from love.
True. And I wonder where his mom lives too. Like how far away that is.
How far away?
Because it could be the same town. Probably not, but
probably not though, because we probably would already seen her.
Yeah. Then again, you never know, because we didn't know Dante was blind for 7 episodes.
We're gonna fuck around and find out his mama work at the grocery store.
Right. Or his mom is one of the detectives or something crazy like that, you know, and that's why he doesn't believe her, because he's like, well, she's my ex. She probably just don't care.
She be lying.
Yeah, you know. So yes, now we can definitely talk about the sex party.
It's sex party night, okay? The baby is gone.
Which, the fact that they...
Who was the babysitter?
That's what I was wondering, because if they use the same babysitter after what happened last time, absolutely not. Ain't no way. You are definitely fired.
You bitch, you don't know how to follow instructions.
Exactly. So I wondered that, like, who did you send your child off with? But before we get exactly to the sex party, I thought it was wild because, okay, so there was a point where when when Love and Theo were, I think this is when it was, doing whatever, or it was at some point where, like, they had sex or something first, and then Love is like, okay, we're good, now let's call Sherry and Carey. It was just such a jump from, okay, we had sex, so we're in a good place. We're a solid couple. Do you think we're solid? Yeah.
Oh,
okay,
yeah.
She was because like eager.
She was turned on by the fact that Joe seemed to be jealous.
Yeah, which he did that on purpose. He said, I'm possessive. You're mine. I'm going to show you.
He don't give a fuck about you, girl.
Which the thing about it, though, is that in general, and I remember this with my ex, you can feel when there's not love or whatever in the sex. Like, there is such a difference when you are having sex and you know this is a loving, committed person. Because I remember, like, there was a difference between, like, if we would get into it, or that's why the makeup sex be so great, because it's just this such desire. So, like, Love can tell when Joe his heart isn't in it, which is what she says at one point, like, I want your heart, which she's not wrong to want that from her husband.
Exactly.
But Love can tell. And so in that moment, because whatever Joe did, although it's not for Love, it's for Marianne, but he did it good enough to make her feel, oh, this man really wants me. Now she's like, okay, we're ready. And I just thought that was such a crazy jump from, oh, we had good sex, to, okay, let's call these other people. Like, what? Okay. You know,
because she still wanted to do it the whole time.
Yeah, she wants to do it. Like, and Yeah.
That's what it boils down
and
to.
she says she never did this, but do we really believe that? Do we really know that? We don't
We
really
don't really
know.
know anything about love for
We
real.
don't.
Okay?
We don't know if she didn't have a lesbian lover before she
Exactly.
was married to her husband. Like we don't know enough about her, and she was just too into it from the costume party.
Mm-hmm.
Like, and I just think
Mm-hmm.
unless you already have those desires, you're
Mm-hmm.
not just gonna be turned on. Because I will never forget the time that I felt like some woman was trying to come on to me.
Mm-hmm.
Mind you, I was pregnant at the time, which really was wild to me.
For real?
Yes, this was when I was pregnant with Devon. So this is how much I remember this. I went to go visit, and I was like big pregnant. Like it had to be like September or October pregnant because I remember my friend had started college and I went to go visit her at college, like at her dorms. It wasn't like super far. And I'm walking and there are all these like girls, like studs though, so not the feminine ones. So like you could kind of tell just because of stereotypes or whatever. I'm sorry, but I wasn't wrong. You know what I mean?
Okay.
And they were like making all these comments and whatever. Mind you, I'm pregnant, and I'm asking my friend about it, and I was like grossed out, not because they were girls, as grossed out as I would be if there was a man that I wasn't attracted to doing the same thing. And so I say all that to say, you don't just go from I never would do this, because you see how Joe was. You see the difference.
Yeah.
Love was with it. And like she was with it. Joe was trying to force himself to be with all of it, and he didn't want any of it.
He hated all of it.
Yeah. So I just thought
true.
that was so all their suitcases they brought over, like they were moving
Why
in
is there so many dildos? Why do you have to have so many dildos? Like pick like a good like 2 or 3. Like
why did he have to have so many different types of drugs to offer?
Fucking
Needles,
shrooms and needles and
like,
fucking gas station pills. Like it was a lot of shit happening.
They were like so over prepared. But then again, if you think about it from a business perspective, and if
not a business perspective.
Well, because listen, I was very impressed with their SOPs. You know what I'm saying?
I thought you did them.
Yeah, right. Like I was very impressed with that. So from a business perspective, if you don't know your clients well enough and you want to make sure to cover all your bases and because what if? Because really, that pill really didn't do nothing for Joe. He had took the pill. So maybe it's like, okay, let's have all these other things in case this doesn't work. So I feel like
you're making good points.
Probably why, because otherwise, for like just one night of whatever, it is not that serious. You know what I'm saying? Like, it just really isn't. So and also the way they're like, okay, so let's stretch and shake and
Wait, isn't that like in kindergarten? They tell you to get all the wiggles out and shit.
Yeah, so let's get all nervousness out. Okay, now they were very professional in the way that they conducted the night, which was just yeah.
Yes. Okay, so
as she turns the page to her notes.
So they're talking about like all of the they're setting it up, right? And they're like, okay, hey, Sherry's a screamer, like she be hollering, hooting and hollering.
I wish y'all could see my face if
Hakuna Matata is our safe word.
When he said Disney should sue them,
Disney should sue them. His inner dialogue during this whole session is so funny to me.
Mm-hmm.
Like it was probably one of my favorite parts.
Mm-hmm.
So Sherry and Love are like doing all this like
they are into
fucking
it.
like sexy dancing on each other. They're not like fucking or nothing. Like they're just like sexy dancing and like touching each other's face and shit. Okay, cool. So then Carey goes upstairs with fucking the other suitcase with all the fucking shrooms and gas station pills and shit. And he's like, and so he's like, yeah, like take this pill, we'll take it together. They take it together. And then this nigga gets butt ass naked.
Okay, we gotta pause here for a second. Now, you heard what she just said, y'all. Look at the difference between Sherry and Carey. Love and Sherry are dancing. Literally, that's it. This sexy, sensual. Joe can see that she's getting turned on, and he's like, "Oh, that's what whatever that word was that he learned. That's what that word is.
Oh, yeah, whatever that word is.
Where you basically you get turned on by watching your partner get turned on by somebody else. So he's like, oh, that's what this is. So like Joe was into that, leading Love into this. You heard what she just said about Carey. Went upstairs, showed him some drugs, showed him some dildos, took a pill and got butt naked. I mean, like, took his shirt off and took his pants and drawers, or maybe
at the same time, like my 12-year-old.
No kind of like progression, and then said, "Look at it." Talk about look at his piece.
It's okay. Look at it. This is why we're here.
Yeah. Then
he turns around
in the mirror,
into the full-length mirror, and says, "If you can't make love to yourself, how's somebody gonna want to make love to you?" And then begins to jerk off to himself, and he's mouthing things like "I love you," like to himself, and then he tells Joe to get in on the action and find a mirror and get to loving yourself. Nigga, what is happening?
Me, as I'm standing here with you, because we're gonna do this, because we're gonna
do this together. Okay, so luckily Joe's phone rings.
Luckily.
It's Marianne. Remember those pictures that we told you that Joe just couldn't get enough of? Her fucking ex, Marianne's ex, sent them all those pictures out to everybody in her contact list. And guess who's in her contact list? The lady that called her about the pictures that Joe submitted for her. And now she's like, bitch, you're a nasty little bitch, and don't call me no more.
Which, I think that
as a professional, how do you respond to this? You get some nudie pictures from a client, and what?
I just think there should have been a conversation, because it came from an anonymous source. We know that raggedy stuff like that happens. So we have to think about that in the world that we live in, where people are trying to ruin people. I'm pretty sure that everybody was probably just all CC'd on the same email. Probably. It's not, and then let's think about this. It's sexy pictures, sure, but it's not pictures of her doing drugs. It's not pictures of her child pornography or something crazy like that. Like, it's sexy pictures that, sure, maybe she didn't want to see. But I just think that is something that should have more so been a conversation, not just immediately, you're disqualified from being a children's illustrator. Like, I just think you need to like look into stuff like that, ask questions, whatever. Hell, I do that if I get a Facebook message from somebody that's like, oh, look at this video. I'll write on their wall and be like, I think you got hacked. You know what I mean? So I just think in today's day and age, I mean, that just should have been more of a conversation and not just an immediate decision, given the content of the pictures was not anything harmful to anyone else. It was just sexy pictures of her.
Yeah.
So that's my thought.
That's a good point. That's a good point. So apparently her life is over now.
And apparently Joe's her only friend, so she says.
That's why
we don't really know, but
I mean, we ain't seen her with nobody else, and Dante got a life, so.
Yeah, but we didn't even know Dante had a life. So we don't know. We don't
but
know
now we do know he got a life.
Right.
He got a life. He ain't got time to answer our phone calls in the middle of the night.
What was he doing before Joe? We don't know.
We up here raising all his kids, okay? He ain't got time for this. Okay, so, this is the part where So Joe gets off the phone because he can't come over because Marianne wants him to come over after they have this conversation.
And he
She asked him
wanted
to
to
be a
come
character.
over.
She asked him to be a character witness for her, and she's like, "Absolutely, babe, I'll do anything for you." Like he said, that. That's what he was thinking. And then she's like, "Come over," and he's like, "Ooh, okay." She was like, "Oh, of course." And she's thinking because like you have a family, but really it's because it's a sex party happening in my house,
right? I can't tell you that I'm doing this.
Sneak away.
I'm trying to get to you, girl.
Right,
He is
I'm
on
doing this.
the king of fuckboy stuff right now, y'all.
I'm doing this for you, though.
Yeah,
like,
this is it. I don't even want to do this. I'm doing this for you to get rid of her so I can be with you.
Exactly.
Ugh.
Exactly. So they hang up. Now it's time for the sex, I guess. So they all go into the bedroom, and Sherry it's Sherry and Joe's turn or whatever. So
well, Sherry and Love. Okay,
Sherry not a and Love may have been playing with sex toys on the bed,
but which I'm not saying we needed to see that at all. But what I am saying is, okay, there's so much professionalism in this that I feel like there's not reality of progression of how things should go. I just think like it goes from this, like they're on a tour. Okay, now we're gonna look at the monkeys, and now we're gonna look at the dolphins, and it's just like there's no progression. How did it go from her in love in the bed with it looked like a glass dildo, but again, we don't see what they were doing with it because they're fully clothed.
They are fully clothed, but then she's like holding the dildo, like woo, like
they're fully clothed though, but Carrie's still butt naked. So I didn't understand why he's butt naked and why everyone else is fully clothed, and they were in the bed, and then it's like
he can't love himself with clothes on, girl.
Okay, Joe, it's your turn.
Okay, so Sherry has him on the bed. Or no, before, okay, so they're kissing or whatever, and his dick, I guess, is not responding to it. Like, not the fact that I don't like you, bitch, but like, so she's like, what's wrong? And he's like, oh, nothing. I'm just like, and she's like, this is where you have to like focus on your partner. Am I doing a good voice for her?
Yes, yes, that was really good.
Thank you. You have to focus on your partner. Like, we're all here together. Like, it's okay. And so then she lays him down, and she's like kissing on him, and then she goes to like take off his pants, and she goes, oh, like she's like making all these like weird noises, like like it was like, listen,
there's the big boy.
There's the big, like, listen, I'm okay with being vocal in the bed, right?
Same,
but, like,
bro.
bitch, what is happening? Like,
I don't know. Like, and that's what it's like. I already can't stand you, and yes, you're loud. But it's like loud and annoying because again, it's not like, I mean, I can be vocal and all these things too, but like, I'm not going to say can be, I am, you know what I mean?
But like, what's with the fucking, is it like she's trying to like pull like too much from like pull? What is the, like when she's like pulling it, what is the point? What is that noise? Why? What, I guess she's too vocal? Is that the, like...
I don't even know that she's too vocal.
That's not even vocal.
It's what's happening doesn't make sense for what's going on. Like, why is that the noise? Again, we're not trying to, what do they say, yuck anybody's yum or whatever. But it was very annoying.
It was annoying. And if y'all don't watch anything in this episode, go to that part and watch her pull off this nigga pants and you tell me you wouldn't like, like, what is happening?
And then the noise she's making as they're in the middle of having sex.
Like,
and it's just like, it don't even sound like sensual. I don't know. It was annoying.
She's having a good time though. So she has, okay, so Joe has decided that I'm going to look at love so that I can get this together. But then it falls into a Marianne daydream.
Because what he says is, I don't want love. I don't want any of this. I want you. So then he fantasizes about Marianne.
Yep. And so Love is over there getting rubbed down by Carey and shit. Like, and they're watching them have sex. And Sherry's going to town. And fucking Joe is hella enjoying himself now too, because he's closed his eyes for a split second. And in that split second, Jesus Christ. Nigga, I was so okay. So he's looking at love, looking at love, looking at love. And then he closed his eyes. It really felt like 30 seconds. I don't know how long
I don't even think it was that long.
That felt too long when I said it out loud. I don't know how long it was, but it definitely didn't seem
He probably
super long.
blinked his eyes.
Listen, and when he opened his eyes again, Love had a murderous look on her face.
Mm-hmm.
And then she says a safe word.
Yep.
And Sherry is upset because it seemed like she was very close to climaxing, and she didn't get to. So she's like, "Oh!" Like, and she's like,
"Oh my god, Khris, I can't. I hate her, y'all, and like." She's one of those people, she's made me hate this role so much that if I see her in a different role, I'll probably hate that too. It's kind of like I don't hate Gabrielle Union the person. I actually follow her on Instagram. Like, okay. I like her as the person, but I can't remember what movie that I first saw her in. I don't even think it was Bring It On. But every role that I've seen her in, she plays kind of like the same type of stank attitude character. And I can't stand that. And so, like, for a while, until I started following her on Instagram and, like, humanized her again and separated her from the role she's played, I couldn't stand Gabrielle Union. Or it's
was it Deliver Us from Eva?
Yes, that's what it is. Yep. Yeah. Or let's talk about the dude in Waiting to Exhale, Helen's husband. Can't stand him. You know what I'm saying? So, like, people play roles so well that then I can't stand them until maybe I see them as a regular person. But if I only see you on TV or whatever,
that's why I think that's Matthew McConaughey. That's why I think Matthew McConaughey creep. Because I watched the movie and he was playing a creep way too well. And I think he a creep.
Yeah, I love him because of The Lincoln Lawyer and something else I saw him in. I can't remember what it was. But yeah, I didn't like him in the stripper movie with Channing Tatum.
Oh yeah, I didn't see that.
I liked the first one. I can't even remember what the movie's called. I didn't like the second one, and Matthew McConaughey was in that one, and I'm like, bruh, no. But anyways,
yes,
Carey,
okay. So
didn't get to climax.
Love is like, nigga, you close your eyes. You're supposed to be looking at me, and then they go downstairs. So she leaves and goes downstairs. Girl. Joe goes downstairs, and she's like, "Who is she? Who is she?" Mm-hmm. Love starts being very loud, telling all their business. And when I say all their business, all of Love's business of the people that she's killed, or the person that she's killed. And she says, I killed Natalie for you. And she says that super loud. Joe shakes the fuck out of her. Then they hear a creak up on the stairs. And now they got to figure out if these niggas heard them or not.
Okay, so here's the thing. Here's so many things that have bothered me throughout this entire season. Why does Joe... We said we feel like Love acts like she doesn't know her husband. Joe acts like he doesn't know his wife, and it bothers me. Like, it...
Is it that he don't know her, or that he be blindsided by he lets himself get blindsided by these things?
Okay, I'll give you that.
Because it's not like he shouldn't have anticipated it, but it's like his obsession gets to a point where he can't tell that it's like seeping out that she can see it. Basically.
Okay, I'll give you that. But then let's also go here. Why the fuck would Love, in her, knowing why she went downstairs, why would she have that conversation in the kitchen? Why would you not go outside? I mean, maybe not go outside, but...
Because Matt, you know Matthew out there.
Yeah, I don't know, like, that was so, but it's so love because she's so impulsive.
She's so fucking erratic.
She doesn't think, and it just more and more pisses me off because I would have expected Sherry and Carey to be nosy because of how you left the room all mad. Like, why? What were you thinking?
She wasn't, and she doesn't, and that's why I don't fucking like her, and that's why she's fucking trash. Yep, she is the worst.
Mm-hmm. She
is. So now they got to figure out why, if they fucking heard them. They go up the stairs, and Carey and Sherry are both acting like they still like Helen's sexy time or whatever, and they're like, "Oh, you guys ready to get back into it?" And then they're like standing there, and like they're trying to like read each other's faces, and then that's when they realize these motherfuckers heard them.
Mm-hmm.
And now it's fights.
Which they had a knife and a mallet.
But somehow niggas got beat up.
I just thought it was so funny. Yeah.
So the guys go after each other downstairs. The girls are upstairs. Joe, oh boy, fucking gets away outside. Joe picks up his hunting gift that he got from Carey. Mm-hmm. And as he's about to try to shoot an arrow at Carey, this nigga's already shooting one at him.
Mm-hmm. Because of course he had a bow and arrow.
Because of course he had it on him. Like
the bow and arrow scene took me out. Because
it really did. Joe almost lost his life twice.
Yep, in the dark. I didn't know what was
happening.
I didn't. It was a lot happening in this scene.
Okay, so Joe fucking lands an arrow and knocks Carey out.
Mm-hmm.
As he's dragging Carey back in, lo and behold, who is dragging Sherry into the kitchen?
Mm-hmm.
So now they both got these unconscious bodies, and they take a look at each other, and they have this like, oh, again, like kind of like look on their faces.
Mm-hmm.
They take them down to the basement of the bakery, and in the kill cage, and then Love wants to have sex.
Yeah, I just thought it was very disturbing that Love was so turned on by this, and then Joe figures out this is what we need. Like, we need violence. Like, violence is what brings us together, and just very concerning.
But my thing is, and that you're right, it is very concerning because Joe wasn't trying to be about that life no more.
Right.
And now it's like, because I know he's not trying to save his marriage, but like, also you can't do this to keep it up until you figure out what you're gonna do with Marianne. Like,
exactly.
This is a small ass town, you guys. Like, this isn't fucking New York City.
Nothing about Joe's plan, as meticulous and all that he normally is.
Mm-hmm.
It's kind of like he really can't be with someone as irrational and impulsive as Love. So like, nothing about this is where I say he acts like he doesn't know his wife, and he thinks he's so smart. And this is often, how men are when they're trying to get away with stuff that they have no business trying to get away with, is that they think they're so smart. And I'm talking about like cheating and, stuff like that. No, I'm saying that for my listeners. I know but I never want anyone to think I'm one of those just bashing men.
Yeah.
But this is like such a beautiful picture of why men get caught up, and how, mind you, Love has cheated a couple times in all this, and Joe doesn't even know. You know what I mean? Like, he just thinks, okay, maybe she's flirting too much. Maybe he'd find out if he wasn't distracted, but that's the whole point. And so it's kind of like, in all of this, nothing about him trying to get with Marianne is, I don't know. It'll be interesting to see like how it plays out, because none of it like makes sense. And
you mean with what he's doing with Love?
Yeah, like how, because we still have 2 whole episodes that like Joe is trying to get to Marianne, and that's gonna come to head in some sort of way. So one
Of
of my
course.
questions for the argument scene is like, now that she knows he has an obsession, because she's never wrong about her thoughts and feelings towards Joe. He
Uh-huh.
tries to, no, I'm all in. No, you're not. And you know
Yeah.
you're not all in. You know what I
Right.
mean? So he
Right.
tries to distract her. But I wonder, is she going to figure out
How
who
can't
his new
she?
obsession is?
How can't she figure it out?
But
That's my thing. It's like, who else has he been around?
here's my only reason to think that she can't, is because in some ways Joe is being smarter. So there's no like keepsake box. You know what I'm saying? Because
Okay.
that's the only reason she
She knew
found
it
out
was
it was
Natalie.
Natalie, because she had seen him have that thong or whatever in his hand, and
Mm-hmm.
then she found the keepsake box and was like, oh my gosh, because at the time she didn't put two and two together. Well, he doesn't
Mm-hmm.
have that. He's been very careful to not like track her on the internet and like try to not leave clues.
Right. Right.
So it'll be interesting. I don't know. That was my question though. And then if she finds out, like, what is she
What
gonna do with
happens?
this? Yeah,
Right.
because and then if she goes after Marianne, like, is that gonna be the reason that Joe kills her? Because it's kind of like, I still think that's gonna happen. You know what I mean?
I
So
do as well. I think so
yeah.
as well.
Yep.
So they fuck or whatever. And then Love, hold on. Okay. Hold on. Oh, okay. Oh, and Matthew heard the commotion from the sex party. So that's
Mhm.
important to know, because he
Mhm.
definitely asked him, and he was like, "Oh, I'm embarrassed. We was just fucking around or whatever." He was like, "Oh, that's interesting because I saw Sherry and Carey's car outside." It was like, "Yeah, they was here for a second or whatever." So we might have to get rid of Matt.
Oh, we're gonna have to anyways, like, just
Yeah.
because of him being on to them.
Yeah. Exactly.
And I feel
Um.
like now that Theo's mad because Matthew put him out, he's gonna tell Love
What he saw.
he is. You know what I'm
Yeah.
saying? Like, my dad is tripping and he put me out and he knows about us and he thinks you
Mhm.
had something to do with that. Like,
Mhm. Mhm.
Matthew has to die. Like, he just has
Yeah.
to. He can't be
He
out
kind of
here knowing all that he knows.
right.
And I feel like he saw what happened with or he heard more than he led on to.
Mhm.
Because we still don't know why he suspects Love, not based
Right.
on anything that we know that he knows. But
Right.
I think if he's been watching like that, then he saw what happened, probably even saw them go to the bakery, because we know he
Mhm.
watches the bakery and we know he
Mhm.
watches Love's like every movement,
Mhm.
and probably even saw, because you know they don't keep curtains closed, so he probably saw them in there, Love and Sherry dancing. Like, he probably saw all of that, because they
Yeah.
don't know how to keep curtains closed even though the lights be on at night. They act like people can't see in their house. I don't like, maybe they don't understand the science of that. That at
Maybe.
nighttime, when
Yeah,
lights
goodbye.
are on, like, people can see. But yeah, I think he saw more than.
He's letting on.
Absolutely.
So we go to the court hearing. Marianne does an amazing job, everybody says. Then we look over and this nigga Ryan is dapping the fucking judge.
Mm-hmm.
Then
So.
that's when Joe realizes
Mm-hmm.
that the only way that his bitch can be happy
Mm-hmm.
and that she can flourish in life is if this nigga's Ryan is not here.
Yep. So we know Ryan's gonna die, which we already knew that anyway. Joe be trying not to kill people, but
Right. But we be saying, we
Ryan
be
is
knowing.
giving. He tried to get him hooked back on drugs, but he was never
Didn't
off
work.
drugs.
Right.
So yeah, Ryan is giving Joe no choice but but to kill him.
Right. And Love is even starting to notice that it's distracting him because it's all he's been thinking about is how he can
Mm-hmm.
get rid of him for her.
Mm-hmm.
And then Sherry and Carey wake up.
Now, Love talking about, I put my best friend in a cage. When did y'all become best friends?
When they was kissing on each other.
Right. And I just feel like they have no choice but to kill Sherry and Carey.
What
and
else are they gonna do?
But you guys know what's actually, you're probably gonna be surprised for me to say this.
What?
I'm actually kind of sad that Sherry's gonna die because I cannot stand her. Okay,
go ahead.
But it's like she's only gonna die because of love, not really because of anything that, like, she's fake. She's a clout chaser, but that doesn't necessarily warrant her death. But she's actually been a decent friend in the best of her ability, because she's actually been a decent friend to Love, and shows her appreciation for Love showing appreciation for her. Ultimately, this whole sex party partnership was really to help their marriage. In her mind, that made sense. So it's like she's been a good friend to the best of her ability. So literally the only reason she's going to die is because of Love running her mouth and them hearing Love. And that's what makes me mad. Not really mad, but like sad, because it's just like, well, we know they're going to die. There's no way they're not going to die.
But my thing is like, in reality, and this is probably the qualm that I have with Joe when his like reasoning. In reality, how many people could possibly go to the kill box and don't make it out? And make it out? Like, what? Like, how can you justify letting somebody out that you've obviously done some weird shit to get them down here? Like,
especially them, because
specifically them.
Yeah, with Gil, it was a little bit different because you could justify why Love got that angry to bust him upside the head with the rolling pin, because your son was in the hospital because of y'all. You know what I'm saying? You could justify that kind of. This, though, is like, you guys tried to kill them, probably in their minds. Like, there's no way, after all the fighting and the arguing and the dragging them, whatever. So that's what makes me sad, because it's kind of like, the reason that she's getting killed is like, she's actually been good for Love to have a sense of normalcy, because that's the life that Love lived, around rich people and taking pictures and being the center of attention and this, that, and the other. So like, when she came to Madre Linda and didn't have that and almost was like a nobody, she struggled with that. So then Sherry gave her that like sense of normalcy, and now, so that's kind of, I know, I never would have thought I'd be sad.
I can't believe it. I'm very shocked.
I know, girl, me too. Like, this episode was very an emotional roller coaster for me. Like, there was a lot that happened. I kept pausing it to like brace myself, because that's what I do, guys, when I'm watching scenes that give me anxiety. Like, okay, let me prepare myself. So, but they're gonna die, guys. We unfortunately know that that's gonna be the case, because Carey is gonna try to beat the hell out of Joe if he gets out. Joe is not about that life. Like, they're in there wilding out. My thing is, how are you going to kill them? Because you're not going to be able to overpower Sherry and Carey. So like, are you going to burn the bakery down?
Shit.
You know what I'm saying? Are you going to blow them? Like, how are you going to?
I was going to say, can you throw a stick of dynamite into the kill box and it just like implode inside? Like, how strong is that box? Like,
that would be wild. I hope they don't show.
Because they got those little air holes. You can just fucking light a fucking stick of dynamite and just.
Is there a top to the kill box?
I don't know.
Because like, could you put some poisonous gas in
it,
and like it only killed them? Or you guys wear gas masks? Like, how?
And then you can say that you're fumigating the fucking bakery
because you saw a bug or something. I don't think you want to say that. Actually, you might lose.
Yeah, because then niggas gonna stop eating.
Yeah,
fucking eating.
But you have to be very creative in the way you do it, because you're not going to be able to like chop them with an axe or any of that crazy stuff, because y'all aren't stronger than them. Like, they both work out, they both are fit. Love is weak, and I'm surprised she overpowered Sherry anyway. It's only because it was written that way, not because of the forces of nature or reality. I'm not surprised that Joe, with a bow and arrow, was able to get at Carey, but ain't no way he would have been able to get at him just fighting him one-on-one. So
yeah, I don't know. We'll see.
Yeah. So yeah, guys, this has been a very emotional episode. I have so many feelings of unrest, and gosh, please stop. So many things happen, so many loose ends that I just don't know how they would tie them up in 2 episodes. So we'll see what season 4 looks like, but we still have 2 more episodes of season 3, so we will be back next week. Guys, this Friday, the 17th at 9 Eastern, 8 Central, 6 Pacific is the next podcast happy hour. So make sure you come through. It's going to be a Christmas extravaganza. If you saw the Halloween one, you guys know we like to... It's so funny how much we're growing in like themes for like holidays and stuff like that, because
nobody else would do them. That's how I ended up with Halloween or Christmas and then Halloween. Like, nobody else wanted to do them.
Yeah, so now we're like, it's just a thing now, you know what I mean? And so, yeah, it's going to be a good time as always. So make sure you come through. I think that's it for announcements. Yeah, I don't have anything else going on for me. All of Chris's information, as always, is in the episode notes. Y'all, if you haven't yet, check out my Melon Intoxicate merchandise.
Yes.
Like, there's apparel, there's different types of glasses and tumblers. I've since added phone cases.
I was going to say.
Like, phone grippy things. And guys, I'm working on, yeah, like I'm bringing a boy and a girl graphics, so there's gonna be like something more geared towards like representing kids, you know what I mean? So yeah, that's in the works. I'm already have my graphic designer working on it, so as soon as that comes out, of course there will be a whole rollout with that. Then there's other designs, like it's just whatever my mind comes up with to be under this brand. It's never going to be just what we're starting with, but you should definitely get that, because you don't know when the other stuff is going to come out. So
exactly,
check that out. There's Afterpay, you know what I'm saying? So you don't have to pay for it all at once, which like that is, and it's not like there's interest or anything like that.
Yeah,
so like,
guys.
I don't know why people try to talk against stuff like that, because
ask your grandma. I bet she's been doing it for years.
You know what I'm saying? Layaway. That's what they used to call back in the day, layaway, you know? So, right. But the only difference is with Afterpay, you get the stuff and then pay after. Layaway, you had to pay it off first before you could get it. So,
right.
Yeah, guys.
All right.
Thank you. This has been Youuuu Season 3, Episode 8. We appreciate y'all. We have 2 more episodes. Man, that'll close out the year, y'all. It's almost 2022. It's insane, guys. Yeah, so, we will talk to you guys soon. Have a great rest of your day. Bye.
Bye.
Ladies and gents, this concludes transmission. Tune in next time for a whole new edition. Another adventure and mission to share, be heard, and clarify the vision of this whole new world for Tamara.